Watford and Burnley's assistant manager among 6 positive Premier League tests for coronavirus. So squads started non-training on Tuesday as the Premier League steps up plans for a restart. But it has been very controversial, especially, of course, because of Watford, whose captain Troy Deeney has refused to return to training because he does not want to put his baby, who has had breathing difficulties, at risk. Troy Deeney also raised concerns over the increased risk to black, Asian and minority ethnic players. And other Watford players are also now refusing to train. Well, joined by John Barnes, who of course played for Watford as well as Liverpool, whose fans are hoping the league does not get cancelled so they can win, of course. So, John, look, this is a very serious matter. First up, I guess, putting it before the issue of football and the league. Do you understand why Troy Deeney has these reservations? Because particularly of the figures that show BAME people are so much worse affected by coronavirus.
Yes, but first of all, let me just clear up. John Barnes didn't say that he doesn't think the league should be cancelled because Liverpool should win the league. I think the league should be cancelled because of the integrity of the sport for whoever is first to win the league, and that's also could be Crewe Alexandra in the second division or Leeds, and whoever is bottom three should get relegated. It's not just about Liverpool. Let me just clear that up before people start saying I'm Liverpool biased, which I am, but not in this case. But yes, Troy Deeney, it's understandable because, of course, you know, obviously if there are going to be BAME people who are more susceptible to it, as much as there are other factors, namely socioeconomic, risk of high blood pressure, certain diseases. It's an unproven that, notwithstanding the socioeconomic dynamic and the other health risks, which will make you more susceptible to it, just as to whether because you are black you are more likely to get it, that hasn't been proven. But you know, it has shown that though there are issues. But in terms of training, there are ways you can train safely. I mean, and socially distant, because training is not just about playing five-a-side football or getting together, hugging each other. You can train within 6 feet of each other and do certain dribbling and shooting and get back to playing with each other from a distance. But the real issue is when you actually have to play. So as much as Troy has refused to train because of obviously issues that he may have, I think the bigger problem and the biggest issue and the bigger concern is when they actually get back to
because
play.
Of course you can't socially distance. I mean, I did sort of understand the point he was making. Personally, I don't feel he would be at risk, but when Troy Deeney said, look, I'm not even going to be able to get a haircut until July, yet you're expecting me to run around in close proximity to all of these sweating blokes, you know, you sort of start to understand his argument, maybe?
Well, he doesn't have to run around in close proximity. That's what I'm saying in terms of training.
No, but for the games.
It's confused between training and playing. Yes, but of course, what's going to have to happen for everybody, whether you're black, white, you have to mitigate the risk in terms of saying if we expect for the coronavirus to disappear before we go back to work, not just for footballers, but for everybody, you're not going to go back to work for 2, 3, 4 years because it's going to be around. Then you have to say, well, you know, is it going to be worth the risk? And as the risk gets less, individuals may then decide, and it's not just about black players, because Carlos Tevez is Sergio Aguero, another Argentinian who did well for in Manchester. Sergio Aguero has certain concerns, so individual players will have to then take it upon themselves whether they decide when they are told either to train or to play, whether they want to do that or not. But all the authorities can do is say, now we're going to start the season, be it 6 weeks' time, be it 2 months' time, we don't know. But they can't force individuals either to train or to play.
Given just the general issues, I guess, around the increased risk for BAME people, do you think the government has done enough on that front? And I'm not specifically referring to footballers, by the way, but just overall.
Well, the government, you can argue, has not enough for anybody because, of course, you can see the death rate, you can see the contraction rate, you can see the problems that we're actually having because it is new. So it's very easy to judge now and say they're not doing enough. But to be honest, in a situation whereby this is an unprecedented event that's happening in our lifetime, I don't want to be too critical in terms of not doing enough because, of course, you can always do more.
Of course. It's unprecedented. Everything that happened has been unprecedented.
Trying to find a vaccine and then actually look for a particular group of people and then find out whether they're more susceptible. As I said, notwithstanding the other implications, that could take years to then say that, you know, from a BAME perspective, that, you know, we will in the next 6 months to a year find out whether they are more susceptible to it. That is not going to happen either. No. So, you know, I have some sympathy with the authorities.
And finally, you say award the league to Liverpool, don't play any games this season. That's what you would like to happen.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying once it is safe to play football, again, I'm not talking about this season, next season, the season after. Once it is safe to play football, relatively safe, because it's never going to be 100% safe, whenever that is, be it 2 months, be it 6 months, take 2 months off to finish the season. And then go straight into the next season, because it'll only take 2 months, 6 weeks, and then you can go straight into the next season. You won't need to have a break, because the players would have been off for 4 months. They would have had 9 games, which means that you can go straight into the following season with the teams who should get relegated, the teams who should get promoted all the way through. And if that means that Liverpool have lost the 9 games and Man City have won and Man City win the league, so be it.
Got it. Totally understand. Thank you so much for being here. Football legend, John Barnes.